Hi, welcome to Venture360. My name is Rachel and I'm Venture360 CEO. On behalf of our entire team here, who is made up of angels, VCs, and entrepreneurs, we couldn't be more excited to show you around our product. Venture360 already helps thousands of firms around the world manage the entire investment process from application to exit, which makes our product unique in our industry. Everything you need is right here, so let's get started. What you're seeing here is your dashboard. This is a summary of everything that happens within your organization, including an overview of your portfolio, your deal pipeline and open deals, and then an activity feed. Up here at the top is your top navigation. It starts with investors, and then investors invest in companies, and those build your portfolio. So very easy to navigate. Let's start with investors. In individuals, we have a lot of different ways to filter all the information that we collect in profiles. We have a separate video that goes into the investor profiles in detail, so I'm going to skip that for now. But basically, investors in Venture360 are built into three buckets: individuals who log in and access their profiles, and those individuals typically invest through funding entities and/or funds. So whether the funding entity is a vehicle this individual typically invests through, or it's set up as a one-time special purpose vehicle, we make the management of this incredibly easy. So all you have to do is add the owners, and then you manage the investment activity of the funding entity itself. Moving on to funds, you can manage as many different fund profiles within our system as you want. So starting here, we have the back office management of the fund itself, which includes uploading your investors and LPs, managing their capital calls and disbursements for overall investor reporting, and then the investment activity of the fund itself. And all of this is built into, at your fingertips, fund analytics. We provide the current value, and then you're just a click away from understanding these analytics over time and running a series of these. These charts here can be added to either the standard metrics you're tracking as part of the fund or our custom reporting feature that I'll go over later. Now that we've added our investors and understand a little bit about the back office management, we can now start doing some deals. Companies start by applying for funding. You have a number of different options in our system of building an entrepreneur application. Venture360 is a white labeled solution, so the experience for both investors and entrepreneurs is that they are interacting with your software. You get a unique link that you would paste at any public-facing website, and then when companies apply for funding, you have a number of tools you can use. So you can either build an incredibly streamlined application, and you can build it into stages of complexity. Really, it's whatever works for you and your organization. Starting with screening questions, you can build yes/no questions that a company would have to answer yes in order to progress in the application. It works like a great screening tool. The application questions themselves are built into two types. You can ask open-ended, so tell us about your business, or you can request the company to fill in multiple choice. You can also score those. The companies, when they apply for funding, go into your deal pipeline. The deal pipeline is segmented into folders here on the left. These folders can be organized, reorganized. You can create and customize any folder you want, and you can also manage different access permissions of who can access what deals at what stage. Now, when we go to our open deals here, you can see that we can also share deals with our syndication partners, move them to different stages. We can view applications, view the deal itself, or make commitments. Now, when we go into the company profile, this is where things get exciting because these are all of the things that we do for the individual company itself. Most of Venture360's features are free for companies to use through our investor firm clients. Starting with the application, which you can click through and review here, you can then move on to reviewing files. We have different access permissions within the file system itself, so you can create and upload any files, folders, and then you can have only investor-only access, files, closing documents related to any transactions for this company, and then admin-only access. We also have a discussions tab, which allows you to communicate with the company or investors about the company without having to create big, messy email chains. Again, we have different access permissions for these as well, so you can have investor-only discussions or admin-only discussions, etc. So now let's move to doing some deals. Once we've reviewed the application and we've decided we wanted to make a commitment to this company, we would open up the round. I'm going to give you an example of a fund investing alongside of a trust and some individual angels because co-investing alongside funds is really common in our industry, whether it's an angel group with a sidecar fund or a venture firm that allows LPs to do side-by-side or co-investing. Once a round is open, you can of course share or invite guests, and you can also add deal administrators or people who are going to be in charge of this round as it moves forward. Now that all of our commitments are in, we're going to begin a closing process. This closing process allows us to enter in the terms that we are investing on. We support every major deal type in the industry, and I'm going to show you an example of a stock purchase. Venture360 also manages the entire cap table for companies. If a company uses our cap table management services, you can just click which round you're participating in, and we would automatically download the terms of that round. If the company does not use our cap table management services, no big deal. You're just going to enter in manually the terms of the round that you're participating on. In the next section here, we just enter in the date that we anticipate closing, how much we're purchasing the stock for. We indicate that it's a cash transaction in closing. If this was a company that you had already invested in and you just want Venture360 to track it as part of your portfolio, you would just indicate it was closed instead. Now that we've entered in the terms, we're going to verify who is participating in this transaction. You can see here we have our fund and our individuals. In this example, we're going to want to set up a funding entity because we group the individuals into a funding vehicle. So we make it really easy, of course. You just select who's participating as part of the entity. You click Save. And now you can see this is what is listed on the company cap table, the fund and the entity itself. But you're just a click away from seeing who participated through that funding entity. And then it's really interesting how we group everything and report it back to the individuals of the underlying assets. But again, we go through that in the individual profiles. Now, remember, we're in an in-closing status, so we can also request funds. You also just have to click here, create an invoice. You can either use our fund transfer system, or you can just provide wiring instructions. Now everybody's received an email notifying them that it is time to send in money and close this deal. All of that is then tracked within Venture360. Here you can see that no one has paid yet, but if Frank here decided to wire in his money, I would just go in and indicate that the money was wired and that and update his payment status. This allows everybody to be kept up to date on where this company is, again, in the closing process itself. The next thing that we account for is embedded electronic signatures. You can upload and create any e-signature document you want and indicate who needs to sign what document. Once all of this is done, you can then mark the deal as closed. Once the deal is marked as closed, we create a timestamp and record of the transaction, and you can see that here. We then start recording anything that happens after the fact regarding this initial purchase. So if we get a stock, maybe we get a partial stock buyout, we get paid a dividend, everything is then tagged to the original transaction history. Going back to the company profile, you can see we've now moved through an open status deal and there are no more rounds open. We went to an in closing and now we closed out a round, which is in the cap table view of the company. Each round you participated on, an individual performance by round, is organized for you here. And you can see here an example of recording transaction history. And in this particular round, if you wanted to see who participated in the transaction, when they signed documents, what documents are associated with the transaction, anything you want to know, it's all organized for you here in Venture360. Now that we've executed some transactions, we need to track the performance of the company over time. And it starts with understanding financial performance. So we make it really easy for companies to go in, link online accounting software like QuickBooks or Xero. This doesn't give you access to their books. What it does is it automatically downloads financial statements on a quarterly, semi-annually, or annually basis. Then from there, we go into tracking metrics. You can request for companies to track anything you want, whether that's a standard metric or KPI that Venture360 provides you here, or you can create and customize your own standard metrics here. All those metrics and all the company reporting is located in their metrics section, and then it can all be built into these really cool customizable charts. The interesting thing about charts is you can track one metric against another. So you could have advertising expense as it relates to user traction, and then we keep that up to date in a number of different chart formats for you. So now we've gone over everything from the company from when it originally applied for funding, moving through investment activity, and overall tracking and maintenance. This is all compiled here in your portfolio. So we provide a complete portfolio overview of every deal funded by your organization over time. So for example, you could start by seeing all the equity investments that you made. Then you can sort this information. So if you wanted to see the companies you own the most of or which shares you owned, and then you can break it down into individual rounds. So you may have done multiple preferred stock rounds into individual companies. From here, you can break that data into the metrics the companies are also reporting back to you. These metrics, you can indicate any metric you want. And then the great thing about us is that you can track one company against another. So you can compare your entire portfolio. The market provided data is an open API that we have created and is proprietary to us, which you just turn on automatic portfolio reporting. And our API will go out and scrape publicly available data sources for information on your companies, whether it's, website traffic or SEC filing data. In the analytics section, of course, you can run a number of different analytics on your portfolio. And just like the funds, we have the current value, and then you can track it over time. And you can, of course, sort individual metrics by a certain point in time. The management tab of your portfolio is how we manage the information you're requesting from your portfolio companies. You can set and request updates. We keep track of who's given you an update, who might need a gentle reminder. You can set portfolio-wide metrics and then the reminders and frequency. So now we've gone over everything from setting up investors, doing deals, and then tracking and maintaining your portfolio. And then we go into the overall management and back office, which is all located for you here. You can configure, you can customize Venture360 to do just about anything you want. And then, of course, we're back at our home base where everything we just did is stored and organized for easy access here. I sincerely hope you've enjoyed the demo today. We're looking forward to working with you. Thank you.